Hello and good morning. This is Hassan Kamal, a PhD student with the stream ASBE, and today we'll discuss my assignment on the topic of adoption of stack effect ventilation, natural ventilation strategy to optimize energy consumption, a case of a building situated in New Delhi. The study explores the effect of various stack effect ventilation strategies on a building in New Delhi, which is the capital of India. We have conducted a scenario analysis for understanding the most suitable energy efficient stack effect based natural ventilation strategy. The site is an office building provided by the course tutor Dr. Hanan. The simulations were conducted in IES software to understand the best case scenarios and the energy savings. First, we'll take a look at the weather and location of the New Delhi. India can be divided into 6 weather zones as per the National Building Code of India. These are cold and sunny, cold and cloudy, moderate, composite, warm and humid, and hot and dry, as visible in the video. New Delhi lies in the northern part of India and has composite type of climate with properly defined winters, that is January, February, November, December, and proper summers. Cooling is required in the summers and heating is required in the winters to keep the building in comfort conditions. As for the temperature of Delhi, during the summers, the daytime temperatures are in the range of 32 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius, while nighttime temperatures are in between 27 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. During winters, the temperatures drop down to daytime temperatures of 10 to 25 degrees Celsius, while the nighttime temperatures are observed to be around 4 to 10 degrees Celsius. For the wind direction of Delhi, predominantly the wind direction is of northwesterly direction across the year, as shown in the video. For the wind direction analysis, for the day of analysis, we have chosen 15th February. We will see that February is a month where the building is completely naturally ventilated and requires no heating or cooling whatsoever. The wind speed at the chosen day is about 3 kilometers per hour at 12 p.m., which has been chosen as the time of analysis also. On the bottom left of the screen, we can see an external CFD of the building at the date and time chosen for the analysis. And here we can see the video of the windrows of 12 p.m. for the day of analysis. Building codes and inputs. In this section, we'll discuss the building codes and other various inputs which are used in the simulations. As of the codes, for the analysis, we have chosen ECBC, that is Energy Conservation and Building Codes 2017, and NBC 2016, that is the National Building Code of India 2016. This gives us the inputs for the modeling, which are construction materials and U values, HVAC equipment and efficiencies, and comfort conditions. Other input like building materials, occupancy profiles, and gains, operational profiles have been discussed in detail in the paper, but specific to ventilation, it is imperative to discuss how comfort conditions are calculated according to the Energy Conservation and Building Code ECBC in India. ECBC have separate comfort condition calculations for natural ventilation and conditioned buildings. These conditions are governed by equations discussed on the screen. Accordingly, for the sake of analysis, we have defined the operation of the HVAC equipment in the base case as always switched on for the entire duration of the year. For the analysis, it was observed that February and November are the only 2 months when HVAC can be actually switched off and the building can suffice or natural ventilation without developing any extreme conditions. The comfort conditions for each month are calculated according to ECBC and have been discussed in the table. Methodology. We'll start by discussing the stack effect. As discussed, the analysis focuses on understanding the effect of stack effect ventilation strategy. But what is stack effect? It is the movement of air inside the building due to the buoyancy created because of temperature and pressure difference across the height of the building. As we can see in the video, the warm air inside the building rises up and creates a high pressure zone at the upper levels of the building. From the upper levels of the building, this air then escapes out from windows and doors and other openings. In this effect, a negative pressure is observed on the lower floors while a positive effect is observed on the higher floors. Methodology. We'll start with conducting an orientation analysis. With the orientation analysis, an orientation of the building is selected, which is the minimum energy consumption. Then on to the base model. An atrium is carved out inside the building. Analysis on 2 atrium heights were conducted, and for each height case, simulation with 3 window sizes were conducted. From these 6 models, the case with best energy performance is selected to conduct an experiment on the atrium size, that is cross-sectional area of the atrium base. Finally, out of the 9 simulations, we'll choose the best case for the building with respect to the energy consumption and comfort conditions. Scenario analysis. We'll start by discussing the orientation analysis, and then we'll discuss the stack ventilation cases. The building in view is the base case of the building where HVAC is turned on continuously. The building was simulated 4 times with 4 different orientations to understand which orientation has the least energy consumption. From the analysis, it can be observed that the west-facing orientation building has the minimum consumption, although the difference in consumption throughout the direction cases is not that significant. As discussed previously, the base case is cooling turned on throughout the year. And in this video, we can see the comfort conditions inside the building throughout the year in the base case. What is observed is that the temperature hovers around 25 degrees Celsius, which is the set point of HVAC during the year. Results at atrium height of 12.5 meters for the 3 window sizes. As discussed in the methodology, the 2 height classes, for 2 heights, 6 window cases were developed. These were discussed with 3 window sizes for atrium height of 12.5 meters. It is worth noting that in these cases, the building cooling has been switched off in the winter. Having done that, it was realized that in January and December, extreme conditions were developing within the building when the building was getting cooled below 13 degrees Celsius. Hence, for January and December, the heating was added to keep simulations near real. For the months of February and November, it was observed that the building is in comfort condition, more or less, with only natural ventilation. And hence, substantial energy reduction can be observed in these months. As a summary, as the window size decreased, the energy consumption also decreased, with most savings achieved with the window size of 7.7 meters square, that is the smallest window size case. Here we have plotted the hours of operation of the building in the temperature ranges. The hours signified on the y-axis are distributed at 1 degree incremental range starting from 19 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius on the x-axis. The red lines are comfort conditions calculated using the equations mentioned in the ECBC. The higher, taller the bars, the longer the operation in that temperature range. It can be observed that the months of December, January and February, the building is operating for majority times within the comfort conditions, while in November, the building is not operating within comfort conditions for majority of the time. Kindly note that in November and February, there is no heating or cooling which is operating, while in December and January, heating is operated for the set point of 19 degrees Celsius. Here we can see the results of the CFD analysis for the case height of atrium of 12.5 meters and window size of 7 meters square. On the left is the pressure analysis output of the atrium, where we observe that the pressure difference between the bottom layer and the top layer is significant. On the right are the velocity analysis output, where we can see that as the floor number increases, that is from ground floor to second floor, the internal velocity decreases, ground floor having the highest velocity. Moving forward to the results for atrium height of 14.5 meters and the 3 window sizes. Similar results were observed in this case, also very similar to the 12.5 meters, with energy consumption reducing with increasing window size. As for the room temperatures, the room temperature is also in the similar range as they were with the case of 12.5 meters, with November being mostly out of comfort conditions. For the CFDs, The CFD shows that the pressure differential has increased a little bit in the 14.5 meter case, while the indoor velocities have also shown some increase. Upon analyzing the 6 cases, it is observed that case number 3, that is stack height of 12.5 and window area of 7 meters square, has the lowest consumption, that is the highest savings. Hence, for further analysis and experimentation with the atrium size, we have chosen the height of 12.5 meter atrium and window area of 7 meters square. Results at height 12.5 meters and window area of 7 meters square for the 3 atriums. Interestingly, we observe that the atrium cross-sectional area increases, the reduction in energy consumption also increases. Furthermore, we can see that there is an energy reduction in summer due to the thermal load reduction, as we are carving out more and more a stack from within the building volume. The internal temperatures show very similar patterns as with the other simulations. This shows that the internal temperatures don't really get affected with the stack size and stack placement. CFD analysis results on stack height of 12.5 meters, window size of 7 meters square and atrium area of 9 by 5 meters. Pressure in the wide stack has also seen a little increase, and this can be attributed to the fact that more volume of hot air can be accumulated with greater volume of the atrium. In the room, air velocities due to the stack, we see also a little increase and some improvement. To summarize, with increase in window size, the energy consumption increases. With increase in stack height, the energy consumption increases, but with increase in stack volume at low heights and small window configurations, the energy consumption decreases. Hence, to summarize the results, the energy consumption has reduced with a shorter stack and a smaller opening at the top. The energy consumption increases when stack height is increased or the stack window is bigger, as it directly affects the thermal load of the building. The comfort of the building using stack effect and complete natural ventilation in the months of November is in question, as high number of hours are out of ECBC comfort zone. The stack pressure increases progressively as we increase the size volume of the stack. And finally, a total savings of 10% was simulated with a short and wide stack with a small window opening on the top. The savings was due to reduced thermal load of the building and no HVAC requirements for 2 months of the year. Moving on to the building automation section as outlined by Dr. Ala. Here we discuss the basic concepts of model-based automation and control, and energy management. Model-based automation and control starts with development of digital simulation of the system, then simulation of operating conditions and system performances, identification of best control and management strategy, and finally deployment of the physical control system based on the constraints identified in the simulation runs. On the right, we can see an example of the Simulink model for a chiller plant manager. A case using automation to improve building comfort. From the simulation, we have identified the problem areas in our building, which is the period of out of comfort zone for the month of November. For that, we can recommend an automated window solution, which operates as per the internal temperature of the building or at a modulating schedule. The same then can be simulated by setting various profiles of operation in IES, and according to its impact, a sound operation schedule and a strategy can be identified. A video portraying the same tech is shown on the right of the screen. Performance-based automation and control systems. For this, we'll discuss 2 cases. First, a chiller plant manager. A chiller plant manager essentially manages the operation of a chiller plant, that is the chiller and the pumps, as per the lowest possible specific energy consumption requirement, kilowatt required of energy per tonnage of cooling delivered. It takes in feedback from the line pressure and temperature sensors to control the speed of the pump and operates and the operation and loading of the chillers. In the second example, we have a daylight management system which integrates lux sensors to lighting automation systems. These systems dim and brighten the lights to maintain the lux at a working plane level. Finally, for smart building technologies, they will be playing an increasingly critical role in the building management and automation control system, and hence we have discussed two examples. The first example is of a smart window system which changes the opacity and tint based on the daylighting present. The window automatically tints as the sun falls on the window, reducing the glare inside the building and also reducing the thermal load of the building. For the second example, we'll discuss the programmable thermostat, which can be programmed as per occupancy, operation schedule, and other variable set points. These programmable thermostats are pretty common and they help conserve a lot of energy. So this will be it from my side. I hope I've covered all the topics. Thank you for your time.